Hi, I can finally show you my scroller project, which is finished now. It consists of a Neopixel matrix of 4x4, so very tiny for displaying characters, but I made a font for every letter is readable, I hope. And I'll show that later on, but now we're going to show the hardware part of it. The box looks like this. It's got a switch, and it's got a socket, a barrel socket. That is to charge it up without opening it. I'll show you later. I'll turn it briefly on. It displays the IP address of the Wi-Fi connection it has logged into, so you know what to enter in the browser. And after 2 times showing that, it will refer to the stored 01 position, the text that is stored in that, and it will display that. Okay, I'll turn it off and let's open it. Bear with me. Yeah, it's open. Inside it is an ESP32 Vroom. It's a cheapo clone, and I also tried with my sketch the tiny Pico, but I did want to let it stay in here because that's a bit of wasteful, because I have only one, and I'll save it for other projects. On the back are the wires from the screen, and they go to one is a data wire, and both the 2 others are the power and grounds. So it is fed by this cable that is coming from this switch that is here, and that switch is coming a wire from this concoction. It's a very tiny LiPo battery and a protection board that also protects for discharge, to low discharge and to high charge. And it will give the out power through the big type A connector that is going to the switch to the ESP32. Then the other wire is coming from the socket on the bottom, and that is here, that is the barrel socket, and I've got this wire. It's got a USB-A connector, and I connected it to a power bank, but it can also be connected to a wall wart and wall charger, and the other end is a barrel plug, as you can see, I hope, on the screen. And when it's closed normally, but I will do it now this way, I'll enter it, I turn on the battery or the power source, and in a moment it will start charging, and the LED will start flashing on the protection board. Yeah, there it goes. So now it charges up. The battery is so small it can only power the ESP32 and the Wi-Fi for about 3/4 of an hour to an hour, and that's fine, but I can also replace it later on with a bit bigger battery, a bigger cell. Yeah, this is all I have to show about the hardware. This is the box, as you can see when it's out of it, and this is the whole device, which is normally wireless and can show nice texts, which I will show you later on in this video. First, let's turn on the scroller. Okay, what you get is, you see the IP address of the address that you need to enter in the browser, that is connected via Wi-Fi, so wirelessly, to the ESP32, which is inside my scroller thing. And I'll type it in now in the browser, and I'll press enter, and you get this page that is served from within the sketch from the ESP32. Now I have a slight problem to show the text very clearly. They are clear in real, but on the screen, on the camera, it is a bit washed out because of the light bleeding. So I'll put in front of it a yellow card, to make it more clear for the camera, for YouTube. Okay, as you can see, the text is much clearer now. We'll proceed. What you see here on the screen is, on the browser, is a slot number 1, and it goes all the way up to 30. So if I go back, you see 30. They are all empty, but they are stored inside the flash memory. So if the scroller has been turned off, you can still get them back, and it's easier then to type the texts all in, and you can select one new of the previous ones. Every time you enter a text, it is the old text is moved back one position, and the 30th position is deleted, is going out. First in, first out. Okay, let's enter a text. This is a test of my scroll text. I'll press save, or I can press enter. Now it's saved in slot number 1, and you can see it on the screen. I'll wait a bit until it's displayed. I made the font myself, every letter, but it was hard for 4x4 display because it's only 16 pixels. But I managed, I think, to make it visible for every letter. There are a few tricky ones though. Okay, and now let's go back to the browser to control the text. I can make it green. I'll press save, and you can see it's green now. I can make it blue. I'll press save. It's a bit slow, the Wi-Fi. It is blue now, a bit faint because of the yellow paper. I can go back to red, of course. And if I want a very fancy color, I can press this square, and selection tool from that the browser serves. It's built in most browsers. It looks different in different browsers, but you can select a color on the line, and you can select a strength or a shade. I'll select this greenish one, who cares. I'll select save, and that color is displayed. Let's do it again. Let's make it all white. I know that is FF. I'm too lazy to do that in the circle. Okay, you see it's white. I press save. Yeah, now it looks yellow because of the card, but it is white. As you can see, it is white. Okay, now you can also change the scrolling speed. So I'll do that now. I can go it's in the middle, and I can go all the way a few positions, but I can all go all the way to the fastest position. And I press save, and you see it's going much faster now. Faster anymore, and it's unreadable. If I go back to all the lowest speed, it goes very slow. This is the slowest. I can do slower, but I programmed it because this was still neat looking. Okay, I'll put it back in the. Let's do it in the middle. And now we can change the brightness level. If it's too bright, I can go back all the way a few positions, but I can go back all the way to the dimmest. This is the dimmest, as you can see. Now I select the brightest position. This is the brightest position. Let's now it doesn't matter, because when here is a checkbox called fade text that will fade the brightness up and down, and you can see that the brightness is returning to the middle because it's not doing anything because fade text is on. Now I press save, and the mode is selected. Now it's fading on and off a bit, dimmer and brighter. As you can see, you can combine them, but let's turn it off. And now there is color cycle text. What it does is obvious. It will color cycle the text. Let's select it, and the custom color box is returned to black, and those red, green and blue are also turned off because they can't work together. I made that in JavaScript. I press save now for the color cycle. There it goes. I believe, yeah, it's a bit harder to see because it's the yellow card is in front of it. I can remove it again, and you see it. Okay, I put the card back. I can then do one more thing, and that's clear text history, which I can do, but if I click it once, it says please confirm. If I don't do it and I press save, it will return it won't do it, and it will clear. So you see there's still this in position 1. If I type a new text, let's do my name, and I press save, that will be stored in position 1, and as I said before, the previous one will shift to position 2. So if I want to see that back on the screen, on the display, I press save again. And now it's stored in 1, I believe, again, yes. And now 2 is Myco, and 3 is, that's the same, of course. But 4 is still empty, but you can fill them up if you like. Only number 30 is cleared off when there is one added. So if there would be a text, it would be lost if I enter a new one for this. Let's do a walkthrough through my code. This is the main code part. Here are a few header files. This one contains the font I designed. You can see the A to Z is defined, and the numbers and some other symbols. Then let me show you the header file that contains the web page that is served. It contains of 2 parts. The first part, and then the code inserts JavaScript code into the in between the HTML, and then continues. This does it because then it can serve back values into JavaScript. So when for instance I've set the color to green, it remembers that by returning that into the JavaScript part. So the web page knows when it reloads that the color was green. Then this is the redirect page that I designed. That is a neater way to return, to let after a post, let the page return to the main page, to this one. And then here are the variables, a lot of them in a separate header file. Now let's talk about the main code, how it works. This is a line that makes only a difference for coding. During the coding, the compiling, there is a message that is now not showing anymore when this line is included. Here is the preferences library that is used on the ESP32 to be able to save values to flash memory, so that if the power has been turned off and turned on, I can reload them from flash memory, and for instance 30 text slots are saved into the flash memory with the preferences library. Here is the Wi-Fi library included, the web server, the DNS, and Fastlet is the library I use for the Neopixels. Here are my other header files included. This is the number of LEDs. It's only 16, so 16 pixels. That is not a lot for displaying a character, but I try to design the fonts as clear as possible, and I think I achieved that. This is the data pin used on the ESP32. Of course, these are secret, my SSID and password for the Wi-Fi. Well, this is the RGB array for the Fastlet for the Neopixel. That is always there when you are using Fastlet. Now here I define a number of values, start values, so I can change it. If I, for instance, now red is displayed as the first color, but it can also be another different color. I can set the brightness to 9 by default, but I can change it if I like to start with a lower or higher brightness. Same goes for the scroll speed. I can make it faster or slower when the ESP32 starts. This one is the number of times the IP address is displayed before the scroller is returning to the stored text in slot 0. Now here we gotta set up fast LED things, Wi-Fi things. This processes the text, the default or the text that is has been stored in the first slot. It processes that, so that function is used more times in my code. We'll see it later on. Here we got the preferences library. This part is a tricky one. It is only run one time before after a new ESP32 or one that is completely cleared is used, to be sure that there are slot data saved for the default with the default text called let me see where I have that. Okay, this is the first run, so it writes initial slot data as it says here in the comment. After that, yeah, then let's proceed. Okay, here is the main loop. This is the main important thing. It has 3 loops to do the animation of the characters. The inner loop is drawing one vertical line of one character. So for instance, if we got the M, then the first vertical line of that is all for Aaron. That draws that each time. And then this one, the loop out around it, is drawing the next one, and the 4 sideways lines of vertical pixels. Vertical lines, and then to the side all 4, so it displays the complete character. And the last one shifts the whole bunch up to the next data, to the next character. This is the loop, the main loop. Now, let's go proceed. Here are my functions that I designed. This shows the IP address that it managed to find after it successfully logged into the Wi-Fi. So that can detect and show the IP, so you don't have to guess. That is the IP you need to type in the browser to access the settings page, the web page that I created. Let's proceed. These 2 are belonging to the main loop for the pixel, for the characters display, for the animation, the shifting of the characters. This is to clear the whole display. This one, if after 2 times I've set it to 2, as you saw before, the IP is displayed, it stops and it displays an animation before the normal scroll text is displayed. This is the Wi-Fi login part. Nothing much to say. While it displays a square, I made it because then I can see if there is not a successful Wi-Fi connection, that the display is working, because it displays a square until the connection is established. Usually that's very fast, and then it clears the display again. It deletes the symbol, as you can see in these comments. Here it prints out on the serial monitor the IP address, but you never see that, only if you connect it to the computer, of course. This is the process text routine function that I talked about earlier. It is run a couple of times from various places in the code. It processes the text and looks so it knows which font position it needs to read from the array, the font array. These are the Wi-Fi. This is the main handle root function. That is from the Wi-Fi part of the sketch. Yeah, it does the usual things, and then sends the web page to the browser here. This is a very long one. This is the handle post form. That is run when you post something in the web page with a form, and then you press the save or whatever, the submit button, and it runs this one. And it does a lot, and it also saves the inserted text into the flash memory with the preferences library, and it shifts the other text one position down, so the last one on number 30 will fall out. Let's see what it does else. Yeah, it does a lot. Okay, I'll proceed to the next. This one does the actual saving from the text to the flash, as I said before, and it also shifts the other values one position down. This one is the one I also talked about before. That is the one that includes the variables set by the user on the web page back into the HTML served back to the browser, so you don't have to for instance, if you set a color, it returns that, so it remembers that. Okay, that's that one. It's a long one. This one is the opposite of the storing. It retrieves the old history from the flash, from the text history, so all 30 positions. It for instance, after turning on the power of the ESP32, then it doesn't know any text anymore, and it reads them back. This is the default, which I talked about earlier, but I was a bit of stumbling about. It is writing default text history, and here you can see empty slot. That does it 30 times, so it creates a base for the slots. This is the color cycling routine. You can see that in the other part of the video how it looks like. This is the fading routine, and then we are at the end of my sketch. I hope you like my explanation and you understand it a bit, and I will include the code in my comment of the video. Bye!